In this video, I'm going to show you how to build an AI application with CrewAI, but what is the catch? That we are not going to write a single line of code and we can build any kind of application. I promise you in this video, you will not write one single line of code and you will build a really advanced application just like this one that I build right here. So this is a CrewAI solution with a front end in front of it that does different searches, and then once it has completed all of the different searches, we're not going to wait for it, it gives you the result, a detailed analysis of the best car to buy compared to hundreds and hundreds of models, something that a human or one person would have taken hours to complete and would have been something really difficult to do. So with CrewAI we can build something like this really relatively easily, but without coding it becomes even easier and we can build pretty much whatever we want. It is amazing, it is really cool, and to demonstrate this we're not just going to repeat this example on this, we're going to build it on something completely different. To give you a little bit of an introduction about CrewAI and what it does, this is supposed to be a solution that puts together different AI agents to work together. Imagine having a team that is supposed to solve a process. So for example, a marketing team that is working on social media. One person does research, one person does posting, another person follows the comments. Maybe it's all done by the same person, but it is different tasks to complete a same process. Now, CrewAI allows us to define different agents or AI specialized in different tasks, have them work on a process by completing different tasks, and give us a output allowing us to save much more time than just using one single AI solution. Now the documentation of CrewAI, it's very easy, very straightforward. All of the different parameter options are going to be here, and also all of the different tasks that you can do. So how you can configure agents, how you can configure tasks, crews, and so on. It is good to check it out and to go through it, but you don't have to learn how to code with it. And what do I mean that you don't have to learn how to code with it? We are going to use a plugin that is available for Visual Studio. Visual Studio is a coding software that allows you to build and produce code. Now, Visual Studio has different extensions. The extension that you are going to need to follow along and to create automatically good quality code is going to be called Klein. Now you're going to install this extension and then you can follow along with me and create a really cool automation that uses CrewAI, and we're going to also add a front end to it. Now, before starting, we should configure Klein. Now, once you have installed it, it is really easy to configure. You have to just click on the extension right here, go into the settings up here, and then select the API provider. Now, I highly suggest, if you want to do this with as little as time as possible, with as little as errors as possible, to use Anthropic Sonnet 3.5. The other models are also really good, OpenAI and Google Gemini. However, they are not as powerful as Cloud 3.5 Sonnet. There are lots of other configurations and things that it allows you to do. For example, you can add a custom instruction to tell it how you want the code always to be generated. In addition to this, each one of the different models that you select is going to have different capabilities. Once you have done setting up the extension, we are almost ready to go. We are going to start from scratch. Now, once you have installed the extension, we are finally ready to start. So let's start. I'm going to open a new folder. However, before opening a new folder, I want to give you some suggestions. What I have done here is I have collected some documentation from this page right here. So if we go to the CrewAI page, I have copied the documentation of the different agents, the task, the crews, the flows, and everything that I thought might be important, also a couple of use cases, and created a file for them. If you want to open Notepad and just copy the content of these pages, you can also control and print and save it as a PDF as well. Why? Because we are going to be using this as the knowledge base for our assistant. All right, let's kick things off. So let's open a new folder. I'm going to open a new folder and I'm going to call it Slide Creator. We are going to create a AI crew that can create training material for whatever topic that we want. Training material that is good quality, that is up to date, that is well structured, and that it also has slides or whatever kind of content that we might need for that training. So I'm going to call it training tutor. So all I'm doing is I'm creating a new folder. Once I have created a new folder, the folder obviously is going to be empty, and I promised you we're not going to write a single line of code. We're just going to open our extension. And now we are ready. However, if we click in the Explorer right here, our file is everything is completely empty. So in here, I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it CrewAI _info.md markdown. So right in here, I'm going to close this, and I'm going to copy all of the information from the agents. So this is going to be information that it can use to not having to do a search online, and it's going to make it save some time and make sure that we have the most up-to-date information. So this extension has also the ability to go online and update itself. However, it uses credits, and not all of the models that we had available have this ability. Tropic API has that ability, but not all of the models. So I'm going to add a couple of more things. For example, let's add the tools that are pretty important, add the whole list of different tools that we have available, and that should be good enough. Right now, let's go to client and see. You can refer to the MD document, and I want to create a crew that will help me create training workshops of 4 hours on whatever topic I want, but specialized in generative AI. So I wrote a relatively basic prompt. You can refer to the MD document, and I want to create a crew that will help me create a training workshop of 4 hours, whatever topic I want, and specialized in generative AI. Now I could just execute this and have the code be created for me. However, we're going to do something a little bit better. So if I execute this, I might get some things that I don't really want or need or didn't expect. Why? Because this prompt is not so great. So let's improve our prompt before asking the AI to generate the code for us. To improve our prompt, we're just going to go to ChatGPT. And if you don't have the paid version of ChatGPT, you can just use the normal ChatGPT. However, I'm going to use a ChatGPT that is dedicated for CrewAI. I'm sure there is one. I'm going to search for it on the store and see if we can find a ChatGPT that is CrewAI master. Let's find one with lots of different suggestions. So this one, I think 100,000 suggestions, also by CrewAI. So let's try this one. So let's paste in the same prompt in here, and you can refer to no, we don't need to ask that. We can just tell it, I want to create a crew that will help me create training workshops of 4 hours on whatever topic I want, but specialized in generative AI. Actually, let's interrupt this. I want the crew to find trending topics in generative AI to do these workshops. I think that is going to be a little bit more interesting, and let's execute this. All right, we have a little bit of a plan already, a better prompt that we can ask the extension to build. So like this, we can control the output of what the AI is going to do. So I'm going to just copy this text right here and paste it inside of our extension in here. So in here in Visual Studio, we have a blank sheet, and we're going to start from scratch. Let's start from an empty folder. This is what we want to build. And also we can tell it, you can also refer to the MD document for info. And let's give it the information, and let's watch the magic happen. So I promised you that we're not going to write one single line of code, and as you can see with this extension, we are already starting to generate the code that we need. If there is going to be some issues inside of this code, we are going to ask the AI to fix these issues. So how does this work? This reads all of the code that is available inside of our folder that we have right here. So in here we didn't select a folder. Let's select our folder. So we did a mistake actually, and we should go back and have it set in a folder. So let's not save this and let's start. All right, back in Visual Studio, we only have one file inside of our folder. We are inside of the folder training tutor, and we just have one file. That is the file that we created before with some instructions for the AI to just have some information on how to create this. We're going to go to the extension that we installed previously, and we're going to type something like this. We're going to take the plan from ChatGPT, and we're going to start by, let's start from an empty folder that is what we want to build, and you can also refer to the .md document that we have inside of our folders, and then we just copy pasted what we had from ChatGPT. Let's click on enter and let's see what happens. It should ask us to read the MD document. So it's asking us to read this document to understand the concept so that it can write better code. So we can see that is adding CrewAI, LangChain, Duck Search Go. So let's click on save. Now it has just created the requirements file. Now it's creating the main Crew PY file with all of the different agents that we told it to create. Trend analysis, a researcher, a curriculum designer, a content creator, and so forth. Now let's save this crew, and that should be pretty much it. We have to install the requirements and the workshop. However, I do recommend before installing any of these libraries that we need to run this, we're going to have to just set up a virtual environment. We are not going to write it. We're just going to ask the AI to set up a virtual environment. So it is going to give us the command to set up a virtual environment. We're just going to click on run this command. And after we run this command, what it is going to do, it is going to create a virtual environment. What is this virtual environment? It is just a place where once we have to install some code that we need, like some libraries, like for example that we have in the requirements txt. So what do we need? We need the CrewAI package, LangChain, and DuckGo search. So these are the three packages that we need to make our crew work. So this has been created. It's right here. Now let's install the requirements like it told us to do. So it's telling us that to do it. So right now we have to activate our code and then install the requirements. So it has concatenated the commands, but it doesn't work when it concatenates the commands. So we're just going to copy this and activate our virtual environment like this. And then we're just going to copy this and paste it in here to install all of the different requirements. Now I said no coding. Copy pasting is not coding, and we just had to copy paste a little bit, not too much. Don't worry, there's not going to be a lot of that. Now, while we are installing all of the different requirements, I'm going to make the terminal a little bit closer, and we're going to go over the code that has been generated for us. So we can see that in the top of the part, it has imported the libraries that it needs to run this code. And then all of the code is just 93 lines of code. It's very simple, but we're going to go and improve it little by little as we continue working on it, always with. So we see that it created a trend analysis agent, a researcher, a curriculum designer, a content creator, and then gave it some tasks. And this is how these CrewAI solutions work, or any framework that uses different agents. This is how it works. It has different agents, like people working on a team. It has different tasks that they have to complete. And then after that, you put all of these things together. So you have the agents that you want inside of your crew working together. You have the tasks that they have to complete, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can choose them sequentially or have an AI agent decide which task has the most priority. And then you just basically kick off the automation. What is really cool here? What is really cool here is that there is no code. It's mostly written and described. It is mostly everything, or all of the code or the action that is going to happen. It is going to be done with words. Also, we've created all of the code with words as well, but also the way that your solution is going to work is going to be based on how you describe the different things. Let's go over one of these agents. For example, the trend analysis. This is an agent. It has a role. The role is to be a trend analyst. It has a goal also. The goal is to identify current trending topics in generative AI. Now, this is its goal. This is what it is going to do and why it's going to be specialized in that. Imagine having a ChatGPT that is specialized in that. Then We have also a backstory. You're an experienced trend analyst specialized in AI technologies. Your expertise lies in spotting emerging trends and understanding their potential impact. Now, this is going to make this agent behave in a specific way. If you were to write something else here, your agent would behave differently and it would do different things. These agents have also access to tools. These tools can be anything that we saw previously. In this example is DuckGo search engine to do a search. However, if we go back to the Internet Explorer and we go to the CrewAI, to the documentation, we can see that in the documentation, if you go to agents, we can see all of these options that are described, and there are quite a few more of these options. So if we wanted to fine-tune our agents, we can really have lots of granularity on how to fine-tune our agents and really make them do really whatever we want. No joke about it. Let's go back to our code and we can check here. This is still installing these libraries that we need from CrewAI, all of the different tools. And then let's continue. Let's see the other agent. This is a researcher. It has to conduct a comprehensive research on the selected trending topic. So this guy is supposed to go a little bit more in detail on what this guy finds from the masses. Then we have a curriculum designer, and it should design a 4-hour workshop. And by breaking down our tasks, instead of cramming up everything into one single agent or into one single prompt, yes, it is going to do the work, but it is not going to do it well enough, detailed enough, and with a competitive enough advantage that we need right now. Because right now everybody is using AI to gain a competitive advantage. However, not many people are using still CrewAI or different agent frameworks for this kind of automations or to automate their different activities. Then the final one agent we have here that has been created for us, again without writing a single line of code, is the content creator. Create engaging workshop materials. Okay. Then we have a task. Identify the top 3 trending topics. So here we have 3 tasks and this or 4 tasks, and these tasks are going to be executed sequentially. So we have task number 1 to identify top 3 trending topics. Based on the trending topics, identify selected the most suitable for a 4-hour workshop. Design a detail for our workshop. It is a beautiful. Create all necessary workshop material, including presentation slide, hands-off reference material, exercise worksheet, any code examples or templates needed. Materials should be engaging, clear, and professional. I think that is pretty good. That is a pretty good crew that I couldn't have composed better even if I wanted, or it would have taken me quite a bit of time also using different AI tools and going back and forward trying to install this. Before jumping into this, I just wanted to show you a couple of more things. So you also have AutoGen. AutoGen is from Microsoft. It is a framework for also for agents. This is AutoGen Studio that gives you a user interface for building agents. We also have Swarm from AI. Now AI has also understood, or OpenAI has also understood that now is the time to go into AI agents, and it's going to be the next evolution of ChatGPT, probably to be able to string different GPTs together and have them do different tasks with the use of different tools. All right, now that everything has installed, we can go on with the next action that we have right here inside of our client chat. So let's execute, let's try out our crew, and let's see if it works. Let's make this terminal a little bit bigger. And also remember that whatever improvement and whatever change that I'm going to want, I'm going to write it in here. Also right here, we see that we have a issue, that there is an error with this code that has been generated. But no worries, I'm just going to copy this and paste it inside of the chat. So the AI is going to take this error into context, look at all of the code that I have inside of my solution. It is going to figure out what is missing and is going to modify it accordingly. So we are going to remove this. I think it wants to install LangChain community. So we are just going to install LangChain community, save this file right here, and install the requirements like it's asking us to do right here. So let's install the requirements. All requirements have been already satisfied. So let's try to run our code and our solution one more time, and inside of the chat we're just going to type in next to see what is the next thing to do. So we're still getting this error right here, so we are going to copy this over here and just paste it in here. Let's try our application one more time. Probably we're going to get the same error because nothing has been installed, but no worries, we said that we're not going to install anything. So let's try a different approach because still get the same error. So it is going to try a different approach. Let's see if it is going to work. Let's see what it's going to do. Instead of using DuckGo tool, we're going to use a simpler version of the tool and use something else. So there is an issue with that DuckGo tool. So let's use CrewAI. So if you go to Serper, so what is Serper? Serper is going to give you an API that you can use to surf the web. So I'm going to log in and get this API, but you can create a free account and get the same API. Now I'm going to use this API right here. I'm going to regenerate it after this video. So I'm going to go back inside of my Visual Studio and I'm going to give it the API. Here is the Serper API, and we also have to give it the OpenAI API. And here is the OpenAI API. Let's use OpenAI and let's create a new API key. I'm going to create a new API key for this video. We're going to call it test, and let's create this secret API key. We're going to copy our key and also we're going to paste it in here. So here is the Serper and Open API key. Let's put the Open API key and let's also put the Serper API key as well. Here is Serper. Remember to be quite accurate and write the instructions as best as possible so that the solution doesn't hallucinate and maybe does and goes and creates code that you don't really. So now that we have added the APIs of the web tool and the API of the OpenAI tool, and we have debugged the solution, we still haven't written a single line of code. Now it should have everything for the solution to work. So let's save this and let's save the requirements as well. It is asking us to run, but I don't think we need to run it. I think we can just run the CrewAI and it might already work. So let's see what happens. So we are having again an issue. It is a different issue. This issue is going to be solved, I think, relatively easy. We're just going to copy and paste it inside of the chat like we have done so far. Keep in mind that we are building a pretty complex application, even though there is very few lines of code, because this is quite an innovative solution, an innovative tool. And therefore there is not a lot of documentation about it. That's why we also created that extra file of documentation for it. And yeah, it's better in creating other kinds of code. However, I wanted to prove a point and show that we can also to my colleagues and show that we can create very complex. All right, so I guess we have to install this. There's no way around it. That we can create complex solutions very similar to the ones that we create in our work, that we can also create them very easily without coding a single line of AI. So let's see what is happening right here. So we have an agent that is already asking, identify the top 3 trends. Then we have the same trend analysis agent. What does it have to do? It thinks about what it is doing and what it has to do, and then it uses a tool, searches the internet. This is what it understood to search. So it searched 2003, but it got a status code 403. So I think it's having some issues with the API, I believe, for unauthorized. So maybe the API key of Serper is wrong. Let's go check it out. A, and right here it is BA. So the API key looks good. However, so once it doesn't know how to complete all of these different things, it still went on and it continued creating the content that I needed, and it created, I think this is going to be the final answer here. So workshop development title is going to be generative AI for content creation. So we have slide 1, generative AI for content creation, slide 2, agenda, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slides. Let's ask it to understand why we are getting this error right here about the unauthorized tool usage. So let's copy and paste this and ask it can you debug why we are getting this error? Unauthorized status code. Let's see if it understands what I'm looking for. Yes, unauthorized error code with status code when trying to use the Serper API. Let's modify the script to properly format the Serper API key to ensure that it's being used. So maybe there was an error in the formatting. Let's try to change this. It's going to try to change all of the code or the required code and just give us a new version that should hopefully work. And that is basically how development is changing. You are working together with an AI still. In the future, it's not going to be like that anymore. But right now, you are still working with an AI to build a solution, without having to do any coding. So let's run this again and let's see if we have the Internet Explorer error still. And after that, we could really do so much more with this application. The first thing that we should do with it is maybe have a front end where we can see. So we are unable to connect to this server. Please check your API key. So probably my API key is wrong. I really thought that my API key was correct, but we're going to copy it and paste it again. It found an issue, so it is trying to do something else. Let's see if it's going to fix it. All right, now that it has installed it, now it has says that it has fixed the issue. I think it has changed the tool back to DuckGo search run. Let's see if that tool is going to work. So we are starting our agent. It is doing an analysis. It used the tool gave an output, so it worked. Trending topics in generative AI in 2013. We are a little bit back, but we have lots of different articles from which we can choose, and we're going to see if the research is going to be different than the first output that we have created. In the first output, it gave us a presentation or a course that we want to create on generative AI for content creation. And right here, let's see what it is going through all of the different steps. The agent, based on trending topics, identify, it is doing again another search. Generative AI in content creation, trending topics in AI in 2023. Now I should have specified to use different keywords such as 2024. Create all necessary material, and it has created a presentation for me. Let's see the title of this presentation. Workshop material, harnessing generative AI in content creation. I guess it is a very big topic, content creation, because generative AI actually creates loads of different content. So using it for content creation, I guess, makes loads of sense. Now, another thing that I want to do is now just to show you a little bit more how to use this tool. I'm going to finish this task, so I can click right here. However, I can also see the details of how much it has consumed. In addition to this, I can also shift and to or shift and add, and then link it to different files or different things that are available inside of my folder for a more direct access. However, let's close this and let's ask it to add a front end to this solution. So with this front end, we can show this to pretty much anybody that we want. It is going to add a front end that we can run and demo our solution and see if it works, not inside of the terminal, but in somewhere that is a little bit nicer. So I think it is going to have to install maybe some dependencies or some files. But so far, as I have promised you in the beginning of the video, we haven't written one single line of code. If you have been with me for all of this time, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I show you crazy things like this that are pretty cool, that are automations all around, from coding to marketing to finance to. So also, if you have an idea, if you're looking for training, if you're looking for AI and automation and you want to discuss and talk about it, I would love to talk with you about AI and automation. No strings attached. I do it because I love to. So feel free to reach out to me whenever you want. Link is going to be down in the comments. Now we are going to be using Flask, so let's do this final pip install. So maybe this is the only code that I'm writing, but that's because I want to speed things up a little bit right here. And let's also pip install this, pip install Flask course, and then we're gonna add here next, and I think our app should be good to go. So let's Let's do what it's saying right here. Let's run this command, app.py, and you can also click on the run command here, and it's going to run your app over here. Also, try asking it what is the weather in Italy right now. It is going to open a browser and give us the information. It can also test your app inside of the browser. There's so many capabilities of this app. We are just scratching the surface. So I advise you to go check it out, start building some applications yourself. It actually looks pretty good. Let's generate the workshop and see if it works. Looks like it's working. So we have a trend analysis, a researcher, curriculum designer, content creator, and final workshop materials. In our back end, we can see that they are doing different kinds of content. The researcher thought I need to further synthesize the information. This is amazing. And just imagine how much time can be saved with this kind of technologies and with this kind of solutions. It is not just great, it can be also a little bit overwhelming, or to think about what can be done. In some of my videos, I showed how to automate your entire machine or your entire computer with Claude Computer, which basically you just talk to your machine and the machine does the tasks for you. If our works depend on us doing different tasks in front of the computer, then I'm sorry, but yeah, seems a little bit counterproductive that we are doing this to replace ourselves. So I think we've had an issue or something. What is happening right here? By utilizing the materials, info post, we have a issue 500 object JSON, but you already know how we are going to solve this. We're just going to paste as much information as possible inside of the chat and have it fix this information for us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, we're not going to go through this build the code. You have seen that it works 100% of the time. You have to be a little bit patient on it, depending on the complexity of the application that we are working on. However, allows us to create front-end, back-end, AI, any kind of application. So I do encourage you to check it out. I do encourage you to leave me a comment. And if you have any questions and you want to see more solutions and more processes like this, subscribe and let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.